Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel and to a new live stream. So today we are having another live stream and I'll tell you the reason shortly. But today the topic is something different. We're not doing a Q&A session or a booktube tag or anything like that. Today we are going to do a book haul. More specifically, it's going to be a library haul because I just went to the library recently and I got a few books that I would like to discuss with you. And initially, I actually planned this to be a long form video. And what happened was, after I started filming, I realized that I yap a lot. I rant a lot about books in general. And in turn, the video turned out to be for the duration turned out to be more than 30 minutes. So I thought instead of making it a long form, since the duration had been long, I would turn it into a live stream so that I could talk in real time about not only the books that I have picked, but also the books that maybe remind me of some other that I have read so far. So I actually picked up 5 books because the library cards are just 5. We are allowed to take only 5 books at a time. And I prefer library halls a lot more to bookstore halls actually, because I believe more in borrowing the books, and it also gives us a chance to promote our local libraries as well. So just go right ahead and tell me, which do you prefer more? Do you go to bookstores more, or do you tend to go to library and pick a lot of books from the library? Just comment down right now, okay? And like I said, we have 5 books, 3 thrillers, and 2 rom-coms. And I feel like I've been reading a lot of these genres lately. It's either thrillers or rom-coms. And I feel like I need to explore more genres or more authors. So right now, I am open to any suggestions. And just comment down what is your favorite book, or maybe just let me know what you're reading, because I would love to get more recommendations out there. This is going to be a mutual book recommendation. I'm going to recommend you some books, and I would love to get some recommendations back as well. So, yes, feel free to recommend me a book anytime during this live. Okay, so we have 3 thrillers and 2 rom-coms there. Okay, so 5 books in total, 3 thrillers and 2 rom-coms. And I thought I would just introduce each book, maybe talk about the blurb, and we'll do this sort of unholding together. And hello to everyone who is joining. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you haven't already, because I think you are going to enjoy reading books a lot. Okay, so with that, I think we are going to start with rom-com. Okay, 2 rom-coms I got, and this is Sophie Kinsella's Shopaholic Ties the Note. Okay, so this is the book that I have picked first of all. And this is actually a part of something called the Shopaholic series. And I think there is also a movie out there. The first book, I think, is Confessions of a Shopaholic, which I have the book. I bought the book, and it's one of my favorite reads, especially if you love rom-coms. There is a bit of a romantic element, and there's a lot of funny incidents. And if you're someone who likes that sort of a genre, then definitely check out this book. So it is a series, but then again, you could read it as a standalone as well. So that is, I don't know which order of the book this is. The starting is Confessions of a Shopaholic, and I think there is, yes, there is quite a lot of books in the series. You can see the list here. And also, she has also written certain standalone novels as well, which I have also read. And this is the Shopaholic series, where apparently our main character is going to get married. So let's read the blurb, okay? And this is the blurb, and I'm going to read it. For once in Becky Bloomwood's life, things are going smoothly. She has the dream job as a personal shopper that is spending other people's money and getting paid for it. And she has a fabulous Manhattan apartment with her boyfriend Luke, and they even opened a joint bank account. So I think I should give you a bit of context, since if you haven't read the first book already, the Shopaholic series, like I said, deals around Becky Bloomwood. And at first, she is this finance journalist. Okay, she talks about how to spend money in a good way, in a very practical way. But her flow is that she is a shopaholic. She's addicted to shopping, and she is not able to control her finance despite the fact that she is a finance journalist. Okay. So the first book, Confessions of a Shopaholic, it mainly deals with how uh, she works as a finance journalist and how she also struggles with her shopaholicness, and I don't know if that's an adjective, shopaholicness of her being a shopaholic, struggles with her addiction, and how she almost got into a depth because of it. And that's everything that the book discusses. And there is also a movie out there which I would definitely recommend because it's one of the best screen adaptation I have seen. So in this particular book, we see Becky Bloomwood. She is already, settled her depth. She is gradually coming out of her shopaholicness again. I don't know if that's the correct adjective. And yes, and apparently her life is going very good. So let's see. And she has a good apartment, a good, let's say, boyfriend, a good relationship, and she even has a joint book account. And then her boyfriend Luke proposes, and all of a sudden things get hectic. Becky's mom wants her to get married in Oxford and wear her old frilly wedding dress. Luke's mother wants to host a grand extravaganza at the New York Plaza, complete with New York Philharmonic. Becky knows she has to decide, but to be honest, it's a lot more fun tasting cake, trying on dresses, and registering wedding presents. Time is ticking by, plans are being made both sides of the Atlantic, and soon she realizes she is in trouble. So, I guess the story is about there's going to be a wedding and how everyone is getting hectic. And let's see, apparently, in the midst of this wedding preparation, something or the other goes wrong. I think since she's a shopaholic, I think she's going to go overboard with her shopping, especially with her dress, especially when her mom wants her to wear her old wedding dress. Becky, being Becky, probably wants to wear something designer, and maybe she might get overboard with her shopping. That's what I think. And I think it's not surprised that this is going to be a comedy. This is definitely comedy. If you want a good, let's say, a laugh out loud, then this is definitely the book that I will recommend to you. Actually, I will recommend you the entire series. So do check it up and definitely watch the movie if you haven't already. Okay, the title is The Confessions of a Shopaholic. You would love it very much. And the next one is christine Christina Lauren, Something Wilder. This is the second rom-com that I have picked up, and the reason is just because I like the blurb. I like the story, the plot line, and Christina Lauren, I have read one of her books. I think it's called Unhoneymooners. That's the one that I have read, and I really like the plot because it's not just a rom com, it's also something that deals with, a personality and things that we all struggle with. We all have our own demons, right? And basically, there comes a point where we have to accept it and learn to maybe live with it or learn to overcome it. And that's something that I found in that book. I was not expecting some plot line of that kind, but I really liked it, and that's the reason why I took this book as well. I wanted to read more from this author. And so this is called Something Wilder. And let's see the story. The best selling author of The Honeymooners is presenting a charming, laugh out loud novel with adventure, treasure, and love. So, this is going to be something of a treasure hunting. That's what I got the idea when I read the plot. So Lily has never forgotten the man that got away, but she certainly hasn't forgiven him either. As the daughter of a notorious treasure hunter, Lily makes end meet using her father's coveted hand drawn map, guiding tourists on fake treasure hunt through the canyons of Utah. When the man she once loved walks back into her life, Lily can't believe her eyes. Frankly, she would like to take him out into the wilderness and leave him there. Leo wants nothing more than to connect with his first and only love. Unfortunately, Lily is all business. It's never going to happen. But when the trip goes horribly and hilariously wrong, the group wonders if maybe the legend of the hidden treasure wasn't a gimmick after all. Alone under the stars, Leo and Lily must decide whether they will risk their life and their heart on the adventure of a lifetime. Okay, so apparently the story is about two individuals, Lily and Leo, and I think they have had been in a relationship and they parted ways. So for Lily, the one thing I loved about this plot is that her family background. She's apparently the daughter of a notorious treasure hunter, and that's not something that you usually come across. It's usually the family background is probably, rich, a rich family, business families, or mafia families, if you will. All those. That's the sort of family background that you usually see when it comes to rom-coms. So treasure hunter is something different because I never really come across a family background of treasure hunter, especially in a rom-com. So that's one thing that I liked. And the second one is that Lily apparently she works as a tourist guide for fake treasure hunting spot. Okay. And apparently her ex Leo also joins in, but the tensions are high. So Leo wants to reconnect, but Lily wants to have nothing to do with him. And somewhere along the way, something goes wrong apparently. And I think the trope is something that is called close proximity, forced proximity, where something or the happens and a hero heroine comes together and they are forced to spend time together. And apparently I'm calling it a cliche, okay? I don't know what the book is, but based on the plot line, I think this is going to be something like maybe enemies to lovers, maybe a forced proximity where something is going to go wrong. They're going to come together, they're going to have an argument, and let's say there's been a lot of misunderstanding. They clear it, they become a couple. I'm calling it, predicting it. That's going to be the plot. I have no idea. Let's see. Let's see. I'm really excited to read this though. And now we come to my favorite genre, which is thrillers. If you know me already, if you have seen most of my videos already, you know how much of a thriller fan I am because uh, I don't know, it's the suspense that really gets me, suspense that really attracts me to this sort of genre. And that's the reason why I wanted to take some thrillers and also new authors. I really wanted to introduce new authors to you and explore new authors. So normally I go for Agatha Christie, James Patterson, and David Baldacci. So this time I wanted to explore more, and that's why, as always, I took a James Patterson because I don't know, there are a lot of books out there by James Patterson, and once I see it, I just check the story and I'm very thrilled. So that's why I took this book. And apparently, this is a collection of three thrillers, okay? Not just one story. We have three stories in one book. And that is always fun to read about. So this is James Patterson's Murder in Paradise. And this is about three thrillers, okay? Three thrillers in one. So if you like watching thriller movies and if you like reading thriller movies, then definitely give this video a thumbs up and check out my channel for the playlist called Thrilling Thrillers. You will enjoy it very much. Okay, so let's go to the story. And this is, like I said, three pulse pounding stories in one book. And the first story is The Lawyer Lifeguard with Doug Allen. Defense lawyer Brian Lord survived the car bomb that killed his fiancée. Out of work and out of his mind, he takes on a lifeguard job at the beach, but there is one wave he will never see coming. So the blurb here is very, let's say, intriguing. Okay, it doesn't give us much plot, but apparently we have someone who was a defense lawyer who now is a lifeguard at a beach, and probably it's due to the trauma of a car bomb attack that killed his fiancee, and now he's at a lifeguard job in the beach, and apparently I think some crime or something is going to happen at the beach, and he's a defense lawyer, so I think he's going to turn into a detective in this story. I'm not sure, I'm predicting it. Okay, this is like my first impression. And the next story is, let's see, The Doctor's Plot with Connor Hyde. And it is about Abby Brunner is the new medical examiner in Napa Valley, a dream job in a dream location. But her fairy tale will take a terrifying turn when she uncovers a series of murder with one sinister thing in common. Okay, so I think this next one is about a doctor who is apparently living her dream life, but she stumbles upon a series of murder, and apparently she found the pattern as well, so that puts her life in danger. So will she turn into detective? We are all seeing, people who are not naturally a detective here. So will they play the detective, the investigator? I think that's the plot. And the third is The Shut In with Duan Swazi. I am so sorry if I'm butchering the pronunciation. Confined to a studio apartment, Tricia Silano watches the outside world through a flying drone. But when her high tech toy record a vicious murder, she is determined to track down the killer, a killer who knows they are being watched. Okay, so this takes a dark turn, the last story. So apparently, there's this character called Tricia. She's confined to a studio apartment. So I think maybe she's been in an accident and she's paralyzed or something. She's recovering, and that's probably the reason why she's confined. And she's probably high tech, maybe someone who is familiar with technology, who works in the high tech field, and she has this flying drone. And one day, this drone happens to be a witness to a murder, and now she wants to play detective and she's going to track down the killer. But the plot line, I think the twist is that the killer already knows her, or the killer already knows that they are on the lookout. So I think that will actually put Trisha's life into danger, especially if she is at a place where she is not able to move freely or something. Then it's going to be highly dangerous. So that is this book. Three thrillers, three characters, and all of them who have no background in investigation, who are not uh, detectives, but I think they will all be forced to play detective in their context. So that is Murder in Paradise by James Patterson. And I have no doubt that this is going to be a thrilling story, because James Patterson always nails with his suspense and plot twist. So now we come to two authors that I thought I would pick up, two new authors for me, although they are well established in their writing field. This is the first time I'm picking up their books. So, first of all, we have Sydney Sheldon, and the book is The Silent Widow. I always been meaning to pick up a Sydney Sheldon. Every time I go to the library, I see the section, but naturally, I will be already having a few books in my hand, so I don't feel like taking up more. But this time I really wanted to do so, and so I took this, and also one by Robin Cook. I will be showing it. Mm, okay, so this story is about a young American au pair vanishes without a trace in Mexico City. The case is left cold, but its legacy will be devastating. A decade later, LA is shaken by the spate of violent murders. Psychologist Nikki Robert is the common link between these victims. Her patience at the heart of this treacherous web. When someone makes an attempt on Nikki's life, it's clear that she is a marked woman. Nikki makes a living out of reading people. But the key to the shocking pattern eludes her. With the police at the dead end, Nikki drafts in Derek William, a PI who isn't afraid to put his hand in the hornet's nest. William was thwarted in the notorious missing Opar case all those years ago, but what he unearths in LA and the mention of one name in particular leaves him cold and takes him on a dangerous path into the past. A shadowy manipulator has brought his deadly game to the streets of LA. In a crime spanning generations, Nicky Robert knows all too much, and a ruthless killer knows the price of a silence. So I have to say, I really like this blurb. It's very clear, it's very detailed, but still it doesn't really give us a lot of room to think about. So apparently, 10 years ago, uh, a young American vanishes, and the case is a cold case. Okay, no one is able to figure it out. And then we see there is a serial killing, apparently, and the pattern is that there is a psychologist called Nikki Roberts, and it's all her victims who are apparently the victim. So I think that puts Nikki in as the common link. And then, on the other hand, we have Derek Williams, someone who was also involved in that decade old cold case. He was not able to make any head or tail of that case. So, he is also pulled into this case and he is determined to work it out. So, I think these two are going to go together to you know, maybe catch the killer and end the serial killing. But I think the twist is that the killer already knows that Nikki is the link, that Nikki has, maybe she might be a witness to something, or she knows too much because all the people killed are his victim, her patients, right? Yes. So, yes, that's the clue. And I think that's the reason why Nikki's life is going to be in danger. So, will Derek Williams be able to solve this case and also form a link to that cold case 10 years ago? I think that's going to be the question. It's really intriguing. It's really intriguing. Even the title doesn't make sense for me now, but I hope there's a connection with this in the story. And I like the cover as well. So we come to the last book. This is Robin Cook, Host. I think there's a similar book out there by Stephanie Meyer, I think, of the same name, The Host. And this is something that apparently is called a medical thriller because, once again, Robin Cook is an author that I have come across, but I never really read. And this is the first time I'm picking up a book by him. So really excited to read this. Really excited to know how he writes a thriller. And this is something, like I said, this is a medical thriller where I think the patients or the characters or the victims or anyone connected to this book will be from the medical field. And this is a genre that began with apparently his book called Coma. And the question is, what happens when innocent hospital patients are used as medical incubators against their will? Wow. This is a very loaded question because I recently saw a movie where it discusses something similar. Hospital patients, innocent hospital patients, are used as not as incubators. I'm not really sure what this word means here, but in the movie that I saw, the patients were being used for organ transplanting, organ trafficking. So let's see here. Lynn Pierce, a fourth year medical student at Mason Dixon University, thinks she has her life figured out. But when her otherwise healthy boyfriend Carl is admitted to hospital for routine surgery, Lynn is devastated by his sudden death. Convinced there is more to the story than what the authorities are willing to reveal, Lynn searches for answers using all her university resources, including her initially reluctant lab partner Edward, to hunt down the evidence of medical error or malpractice. So I think this is something that is similar whenever we watch a movie or a series that is related to medicine, the field of medicine or medical thrillers. This is what happens. There might be some malpractice or something going on with the setting, uh, being the hospital. And like I said, in the movie that I saw, it was organ trafficking. And in this, I'm not really sure what it is, but apparently there's a lot of death happening where it doesn't make sense. For Lynn, who is a medical student, her Carl might have been healthy, but all of a sudden he dies. And Lynn apparently feels that there is more to the story. This is not just natural death, and the authorities are holding something back. So apparently, she goes into an investigation with her lab partner, and what she uncovers, however, is far more disturbing. Hospitals associated with this Sentinel healthcare, including the one attached to the university, have unnervingly high rate of unexplained complication and patients contracting serious and terminal illness in the wake of routine surgery. When Lynn and Edward begin to receive death threats, they know they are onto something bigger than either of them anticipated. They must discover the truth before the shadowy forces behind Sentinel Healthcare can put a stop to their effort once and for all. So, the misgiving is that apparently people are suddenly falling ill after their routine surgery, and it's not something that is normal.